What if?
Let me assert my firm belief
What if
that the only thing we have to fear is
we looked at things
fear itself.
differently?
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Differently. Differently? Differently. Hey everyone, it's Heather, and you're listening to That's Life, Stories and Lessons that might make you think differently. Today, as you've probably guessed from the title, we are talking about some seasonal woes. So 'tis the season for crowds, overconsumption, pretending we're superheroes with more time than to-dos, and probably the biggest one, comparison. I have such a problem with this. I don't know about anybody else out there. Hopefully I'm not speaking to myself on this one. No, this episode is not sponsored by Scrooge and Marley Counting House. I promised you that. But every year, this comes around. I hustle and I bustle. I write out my list like Santa Claus. And every year, I still have the feelings of inadequacy for not doing more. So whether it's house decorations, and by the way, on this, we live on a block where it's like Christmas with the Cranks, if you're familiar with that, where the entire neighborhood decorates and they go big. And it's kind of like an unspoken rule of living here to decorate. And every year, no matter how much we put up, it's like this competition which nobody else is putting on me except for me. But it is really like this funny competition because no matter what we do, we still have like the dullest house on the block. So anyway, whether it's house decorations or even going to the store. Sorry, a little side note on this one too. Going to the store and saying, oh, I need more Christmas decorations. You know, you're just like bombarded with it at every store and you see all these cute things and you're like, oh, I definitely need that. Next time you say that, by the way, or next time you're in the store and you're in your head and you're saying, I definitely need this for the house, it would be so cute, just walk away. Walk away and think about something else to spend that money on. So house decorations, baking treats, presents, thinking about what to get people for Christmas and not even getting joy in it, just really having some stress around, okay, what are they going to use? What's going to be practical? What are they going to appreciate when they open the present? Or just partaking in all of the various community festivities. All of this can be super exhausting. Am I right? So about 2 years ago, I had a small epiphany. I was treating this entire season like a to-do. So my joy wasn't in the actual doing of all the things. It was in the completing. So in other words, instead of just finding my smiles and my joy when we were actually participating in these different activities, it was a relief for me as soon as they were over because I could just cross it off my list. So a consideration, and this isn't going to be anything new, it's probably something you think about every single year, but maybe this year something will hit you in a different chord, resonate with you a little bit differently. The question is, when do the lists of fun start to impede the simple love of fun? So I'm going to say that again. When do the lists, all the different things that we have to do, this is what we're going to do to have fun, this is when we're going to have fun, start to impede the simple love of having fun? In shorter words, give yourself a break. Like literally right now, take something off of your list. Ask yourself the question, who does this serve? So I know those of you with children have it in your heart to create these memorable experiences. I get that, and it's a wonderful thing. It truly is. So I don't want you out there saying, well, I have children. It's everything, all this work that I put in, everything is for them because I want them to just have these miraculous experiences as kids and just remember all these things. I get it. But I also think there's a balance and an example that we can all set as adults as to, and not to sound cliche here, but as to what this time is really about. Think about it. If kids see mom and dad and whoever around them in the family stressing out, they're going to equate this season with a stressful period. So when I was preparing for this and kind of, writing some notes on this and everything, I couldn't help myself, but did anyone else have the grandma growing up who just busted it in the kitchen around the holidays, preparing and making the meal for everyone who was coming over to her house? And at the end, when everybody went to settle down and eat the meal, grandma was nowhere to be found because she was in the kitchen by herself, not even eating. I don't know if that's just me or not, but I just remember that from my childhood. Or, this is hypothetical, wink, but the family who got together, and it was, again, a beautiful thing. It was aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody getting together. But as soon as the meal was over, some or many of the adults would actually leave to go help with the cleanup. And then that was the end. It was like, it's all over now. So it's like we did all this preparation, everybody just really putting in all the stress as to the menu and buying things and everything going into the meal. But then nobody really took the time to enjoy that and enjoy that time together. My point is, in our exhaustive efforts to create these memorable experiences for our kids, what memories will actually last? And I mean, there's no way to actually tell that, really, to answer that question now, but it is just to give you a little bit of food for thought. So I want to talk about something called Elf on a Shelf, or maybe it's Elf on the Shelf. Elf on the Shelf. I'm sure some or many of you have heard of this. But if you haven't, this was something that came out. I don't even know actually when it came out. But I just remember it getting kind of bigger, or maybe I just started really hearing about it about 10 years ago, maybe less. And the whole idea is that there's an elf and you get to name the elf, and the elf visits the home all these, through the month of December, or, the days leading up to Christmas. Almost like an advent calendar, but this is like advent calendar on candy, on like loads of candy. Because the idea is that every single day, the kids will find the elf in different places and they may get different gifts for that. And I think, so those of you, I just have to caveat this whole thing by saying I'm not judging Elf on the Shelf, okay? So for those of you out there that do Elf on the Shelf, you may be saying, well, I love it. My kids love it. My family loves it. So what do you have against Elf on the Shelf? I don't have anything against Elf on the Shelf, but I am just also hearing that it can become a stressful event for some of the parents. And also I think, there are some questions coming up like, are my kids getting a little bit spoiled, or are they taking advantage of this whole idea of Elf on the Shelf because they're essentially getting even more presents now, or, whatever. So I actually have an alternative approach to that, or just something else to consider here. For those of you who may be wanting to try something different from Elf on the Shelf. I just spent some time back in my hometown of Lincoln, Illinois, which I've talked about before, but is a very small town in central Illinois. And I came across in this small little shop in the town, I came across books, these two books. They are a set by a local author. Her name is Elizabeth Rage, and actually her sister then illustrated the book. So it's kind of like this family thing. And I was just blown away by this. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to share a little bit about these two books. So there's a children's book, and then to complement the children's book is actually a parent's handbook. I'm telling you, this is just genius. So within the kids book, it's called the Christmas Kindness Kids, okay? And for the children's book, it's all about these two kids, brother and sister, who decide that they just want to do acts of kindness. So they start doing acts of kindness around the house. And then they really like how that feels. And so then they extend it out to their neighbors and into the community. And by the end of the book, they decide, hey, we really like doing all these acts of kindness, and we're not just going to do them at Christmas time, but we can do them all year round. It's a really beautiful story. And then in the parents' handbook, there are different quotes, but then also with to-dos, which I love this whole concept. I really do. So I'm going to give you an example. On one page, it says, "Oh, Christmas tree, you are such a beauty." And then on the right side of the page, it says, "What's your favorite food in the cupboard? Pick it out and help your family donate it to a food pantry." Brilliant, isn't it? It's just, I love this idea of teaching kids to do acts of kindness, right? Which is what this season is about, but what is really what life is about. Another example here on one page, it says, "Nature, God's way of showing just how creative he can be." And on the other page, it says, "Straighten up your bookshelf and pick out 2 books to donate." So I just found this to be really applicable for this season and for others. And, I don't have children, but I work with children, as you all know. And I picked these books up because I just wanted to share them with anyone and everyone. I just think that they send such a strong message, and it's a really fun thing to do, and a really great way to bond with your kids. So if you are interested in ordering or want to learn more, the web address for this is www.christmaskindnesskids, exactly how it sounds, .com. So the new perspective / challenge, number 1, is to reconsider how much you're doing this season, what you're doing, and for whom. Okay? How much, what, and for whom. And I promise, if you miss one winter wonderland, tree lighting ceremony, or visit to Santa's workshop, it doesn't make you a bad parent. I don't know who, but somebody needs to hear that out there today. Or if you bring a store-bought cookie assortment instead of homemade for the holiday party at work, people are still going to eat them. I promise you that. I promise you. New perspective number 2. You get 2 today. Don't stop everything the season represents when the Christmas music stops playing on the radio. And I think about this every year. I don't know if anyone else out there notices it, but I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve of mine, but it's just something that I notice. So have you ever noticed that people, like a difference in people around the holidays? Like everyone says Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas when you're out and about, and they say it with a really cheerful smile, right? Like no matter what you're doing. Or they'll hold doors open for you. I see people, helping elderly people out to their cars. We donate items or time to shelters or food banks. We give more grace, offer forgiveness. And it's all because it's the holidays, right? That's the classic phrase. I hear that over and over again. It's like, well, yeah, I just figured it's the holidays. And I want to be clear before y'all just think I'm some sort of Grinch or Scrooge here. I think all of these are wonderful, beautiful, and genuine acts of love. I truly do. My question is, why do we need the holidays to do them? And this is a question I've pondered for several years, because the shift that I would observe from the holidays to post-holidays, it was just so stark. And it didn't mean to be sarcastic at all when I said when the Christmas music stopped playing on the radio, because it was literally like the day that it was off, that aura of Christmas was just out the door. And just like that, people would snap back into old ways of thinking and old behaviors. But I think instead of putting any more of my time and energy into that question of, why do we need the holidays to do these things? I'm actually changing my perspective and shifting my focus on a better question, which is, how can I continue to spread the love and joy of the Christmas season all year? And I know you think that you have to be claymation to say those words, but you don't. And it doesn't mean I'm going to keep saying Merry Christmas and leave my decorations up, although that would be fun. And as a side note, one year I actually did do that. I left my Christmas tree up because I was too lazy to take it down, and it just became my holiday tree. So it soon acquired Valentine's decorations, and then St. Patrick's Day, and then springtime. And I think that finally in April, mid-April or so, I ended up taking it down. But it really did spruce up my apartment. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, but I probably won't leave up my Christmas decorations. But it does mean bringing a cheerful greeting to strangers at the store, or letting someone go in front of me in line, complimenting someone completely randomly, volunteering my time and resources to serve others. This is a big one. Forgiving without grudges. So not just forgiving at the holiday season and then being re-mad come January 4th or whatever. Essentially, we're talking about being a person who acts out of love and not selfish intent. Maybe this is a question or challenge you can consider this year too. So when the lights are down, the parties are over, and the Hallmark Channel goes back to its regular programming, think about this. How can I continue to spread love and joy? How can I continue to spread love and joy? Because then it becomes a very personal thing. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Just on you, what can you do to continue to spread love and joy? And hey, if leaving the decorations up helps, well, I'm a fan. So, fun news. This is the last episode of the year. I'll be coming back in January with a series on stay-at-home parenting titled, Should I Stay or Should I Go? I'm super stoked about that one. So stay tuned. Until then, wishing all of you and your loved ones a very joyous, wondrous, and loving holiday season. Now, what are you going to do differently? Because that's life.